Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Right now, at this exact moment, you and I are literally hurtling through space on a 4.5 billion-year-old spaceship. Today, we're going to embark on a journey to decode this absolute masterpiece of engineering, our own world. We're going to explore the grand interconnected systems that make our planet function, looking closely at the blueprint for a habitable planet. It's going to be a really fascinating ride, going all the way from the fiery depths of the inner Earth, right up to the very edges of our atmosphere.
I mean, think about it. Out of all the endless cosmic real estate we've observed out there in the universe, Earth is the only known planet to actually support life. But what exactly makes it so special? Why here? Well, in this explainer, we are going to uncover exactly how this giant planetary machine operates. We'll be looking at the gears, the engines, and the incredibly delicate balances that turn what is essentially a spinning rock into a vibrant, living oasis.
Okay, so let's dive right into this inside-out journey. We'll start with origins in the deep Earth, move up to the sky and seasons, flow into water, weather, and climate, explore the incredible web of life, and finally, look at humanity and Earth's future.
Starting things off with Section 1, Origins and the Deep Earth. 4.5 billion. Just pause for a second and let the sheer scale of that number really sink in. 4.5 billion years ago, our Earth was formed. And let me tell you, it didn't look anything like the nice blue and green marble we know today. It was a turbulent, super chaotic, molten world of relentless magma, constantly getting bombarded by celestial debris. But, this staggering figure represents the deep, deep time that was required to basically set the stage for everything that follows. Right, so after that initial fiery formation, Earth's orbit settled perfectly into what we call the Sun's habitable zone. And the margin of error here is incredibly narrow. Literally, if we were just a little bit closer to the Sun, our oceans would just boil away. A little further, they'd freeze completely solid. But because of this absolutely perfect cosmic positioning, subsequent eons allowed for something pretty miraculous. Liquid water actually pooled on the surface, and a nice, stable atmosphere wrapped around the planet. These chronological milestones perfectly align to transform a completely lifeless rock into a habitable sanctuary. Now, if we look beneath our feet, the Earth is definitely not just a solid chunk of rock. It's got a very distinct structure. You've got the solid and molten core right at the center, surrounded by the really thick mantle, and finally, the crust on the outside. To put that into perspective for you, if the Earth were an apple, the entire crust, where we build all our cities, hike our mountains, and just live our everyday lives, is actually thinner than the skin of that apple. We exist on this thrillingly fragile outer shell, mostly oblivious to the massive churning layers deep, deep below us. And that crust isn't standing still. Plate tectonics is the shifting of Earth's crustal plates, which actively drives things like earthquakes, volcanoes, and even the formation of mountains. The ground you walk on every single day is literally surfing on a sea of churning, superheated rock. The intense internal heat from the core and the mantle basically acts as a massive geological engine. It's constantly tearing apart and rebuilding the map of the world over millions and millions of years.
All right, moving up, we have Section 2, the sky and seasons.
So Earth's atmosphere acts as a vital shield, protecting all life on the surface. And it's so much more than just the air we breathe. This invisible layer of gases wraps around our world, deflecting really dangerous solar radiation and actively burning up meteors before they can even strike the ground. It is quite literally a lifesaver. Without this atmospheric blanket, Earth's average temperature would drastically drop to below freezing, making the everyday world we know entirely impossible. And while we're looking at the sky, it's awe-inspiring to think about how planetary movement dictates our lives. We experience day and night entirely because of Earth's constant rotation on its axis. But summer and winter, that whole cycle is driven by Earth's axial tilt as it orbits the sun. It's just wild to think that two completely different planetary movements dictate the daily rhythms we wake up to and the massive seasonal cycles we experience every single year. Let's keep moving to Section 3, Water, Weather, and Climate. The global water cycle operates through this brilliant continuous loop: evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. The sun's heat turns liquid water into vapor. That vapor cools down and forms clouds, and finally it falls right back down as rain or snow. Now, here is a mind-blowing fact about this endless recycling system. The water coming out of your kitchen faucet today is the exact same water the dinosaurs drank millions of years ago. It just endlessly circulates across continents, sustaining literally all life.
But, of course, that water cycle doesn't just operate in a vacuum. Oceans, winds, and sunlight all combine to drive our global weather patterns, storms, and our climate. The heat from the oceans actually powers the wind, and then that wind pushes the global water cycle around, creating one single massive global engine. Together, all these elements mix and churn to generate everything from a really gentle spring breeze to the absolute most powerful, destructive storms on the planet. Which brings us nicely to Section 4, the incredible web of life. Over billions of years, we've seen the evolution of remarkably complex life forms. We've got intricate food chains and just incredibly rich biodiversity thriving in our forests and oceans. But here's the really cool part. Life isn't just sitting passively on Earth like, passengers on a bus. Life actively engineered the system. Through photosynthesis, plants literally manufactured the oxygen-rich atmosphere we depend on to survive. Biology didn't just adapt to the planet, biology actually helped build it.
It really is a beautifully delicate balance. But you've got to wonder, what happens when one single species gains the power to alter that entire system? Because that is exactly where we find ourselves. It's a completely unprecedented moment in the entire 4.5 billion year history of our planetary machine.
And that leads us to our final chapter, Section 5, Humanity and Earth's Future. We are now, without a doubt, the defining geological force on this planet. Our impact spans the massive spread of agriculture and the rise of sprawling cities, which are all fueled by just incredible advancements in technology and energy. However, alongside these massive human achievements, the sources highlight clear disruptions to the environment and the very real realities of climate change. But concurrently, we're seeing a massive rise in growing global conservation efforts. So human civilization is basically utilizing Earth's resources at an unprecedented scale, while at the very same time, we're mobilizing conservation technology to try and address those exact environmental challenges. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this thought. Earth is more than just a planet. It is a vast, interconnected system. Every living thing depends on this delicate balance. From the deep, churning mantle beneath our feet to the protective atmosphere above us, to the intricate web of life all around us, absolutely everything is linked. Understanding exactly how our planet works really is the vital first step to protecting the only home we have ever known. So the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves now is this: will we be the generation that breaks this 4.5 billion-year-old machine, or the one that finally learns how to maintain it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.